started up quickly. It's really rough along here. Yeah, it's still there. Woohoo! That's good. I can't see anything of a worry. Well, it's time for a 12-month review of the resurrection of my 2002 TL1000, or is it a TL1000R, whatever way they want to say it. So I just got back from a test ride yesterday, another run through the hills just to see how it's going, to try out the front forks and the front brakes again and again. So the guys that have been following me with the TLR have known the process that I've been going through. But if you're new here, this is a 2003. Originally it was the yellow with the silver sections in it, silver sections. But unfortunately one of the previous owners smashed it all up, and I bought it off a friend of mine who had rebuilt it with bits and pieces, getting back original fairings and things like that, but couldn't get the original colour scheme. And that colour scheme isn't available anymore. So now I bought it as a blank canvas. The sticker kit came from Europe, Moto Sticker, and it didn't go with the white and the black. So what I did, I took it to a local signage company, the stickers that I had, and they re-scanned them and reprinted them in the colours that you see now. And with the black and the white, I think it worked out really well. And a big thank you to my friend Peter, who suggested to redo it the way I did. And it was fantastic. After such a struggle trying to find the correct livery, which is unfortunate, the way the bikes get too old and the manufacturers just drop off the supply of spare parts, which is a real shame. So we got it in white with blue and a bit of silver and black, and I think it came out all right. It's a little bit different, but it's still in the same theme. That's where I'm sort of kind of getting at. The biggest problem when I got the bike was the awful front brakes. And I want to do track days on it, not serious, but I just want to run it around, you know. And the front brakes were awful. Typical of that era, as far as I'm concerned. I've got a Hayabusa right beside me, and it have gone through the same type of thing. We've got new rotors, because the old rotors were worn out, as in my previous videos I explained. So I've got new EBC rotors. I've not overhauled the calipers, but I've taken them off, cleaned them, inspected them, checked to make sure that the pistons are moving correctly, smoothly, and not because you can get corrosion building up into the seal grooves, and then that pushes pressure onto the seals, and then that goes up pressure onto the piston, so you get a seized piston. But every one of them is operating smoothly. You check by just pushing them in with your thumb. If you can't push them in with your hands, your thumbs, you've got a problem. So they're all checked out okay. It's now got braided HEL lines on it, and it's got a 19mm Nissan radial master cylinder on it. I've got beautiful brake lever pressure now. I did a little bit of fine tuning with the brakes after the ride yesterday, after I sort of bedded them in. I just had to do a bit of adjustments on the forks to make sure that the pads were not pressured on one side. So there was a little bit of drag, so I had to just realign the calipers by using the axle. Okay. So it is miles better than it was before. It is absolutely. So I'm going to do a video, going to take it around to a friend's place, and he's got a TLR and a KTM, but I want him to just ride this and give me his feedback, because, you know, don't believe me, I'll let someone else have a go of it as well. Rear brakes. Rear brakes I have left alone at the moment, they work. They're not dragging, they don't do anything bad, except that the rear disc is worn out. And it's the back. One of the previous owners was really heavy back brake user. I've never worn out a rear disc in my life, but that one's stuffed. So it still looks kind of like original in the braking department, but it's improved. Miles better, improved. But first, if you're new to my channel, my name's Kevin, KJ's Moto, and I really like to thank my subscribers over the year with the TLR. They've added some information that I needed to know, and I appreciate it greatly. So thank you guys. But getting back to the front forks and rear suspension, I got them upgraded to the K-Tech internals down here at the compression control valves. Stronger springs, they're now rated at 10. And the bushes, the inner and outer bushes for the fork tubes, they've been replaced as well. So I've got a, like it's been overhauled and improved. Took it for a run yesterday, like I just mentioned. Front forks seem okay for flushness. Is that a word? Flushness? I might change the compression just a little bit more. At the moment, it's set at 4 clicks out at the bottom, 4 clicks out at the top, and the preload is set at actually about 4 rings as well. So I haven't altered it from when I received it from the suspension guy. Rear suspension. Now you got a million comments in the internet about the rear shock. All I can say now is I've got rider sag in it. It goes up and down. It is harsh. It doesn't kick me out of the seat or anything like that. It doesn't skip off the ground, the back wheel. It's controlled enough, but it just gives a harsh ride. I got a little bit light on the rebound so that it'll actually go up, but it gives a harsh ride. I know, just basically just save up the money and buy a proper shock for it. But at the moment, we just got to live with what we got. It's working, and it's not that traumatic. It's not dangerous or anything like that. It's not an S, it's an R. So it's a different system slightly, actually quite major when you're considering that the spring is in a different position and all that sort of thing. But it's okay. We'll just leave it at that. It's okay at the moment. We can get on with the other things. But a nice Hyper Pro rear shock would be nice, eh? That's what I like to go for. Next, steering. Now, I've got a Hayabusa right beside me. I've got a ZX6R just there. And the TLR is a bit odd. It gave a feeling that it just wanted to run straight. It was reluctant to tip into the corners. I'm talking about, haven't been able to put it on the track yet. This is just at road speeds, okay? Approaching roundabouts and all that sort of stuff. It just wanted to just run straight, not fall in as easily as I'd like. And it's got brand new tyres on it, Bridgestone S23s front and rear, and then the rear one is a 190 by 55, so it's a little bit higher than stock profile of 50. But it still didn't do much good, and I run that on the Hayabusa and it's great. Sure, the Hayabusa's heavier and you've got to use a bit more muscle on the push-pull, the counter steering to make it respond, but because you're just fighting more weight. But this, it's been a bit odd. So, a friend of mine on the comments gave me a measurement of 12 mil for the front forks. I had it at 5 and I did some digging and it seemed to be like the stock setting is 6 mil protruding out of the top triple clamp, Well, it's now 12mm protruding with a 55 rear tyre on the back, and it was so much better. Yesterday through the hills, just at a moderate pace, just riding along trying to feel the brakes, the new front forks work, and then this setup. Look at this is much better. A really off camber corner, and it just rolls in nice. I'm wrapped. Now I can feel that the tyres are doing what they're supposed to have done anyway, like, you know, the good sport tyres, but they didn't seem to have any, you know, flickability in them. But now it has. It's good. It really made it. Cost nothing to do, and it made a huge difference. Engine, gearbox, clutch. I've had the tank off and the airbox out and everything like that to do the quick shifter, which I'll get to in a minute, but nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary in the engine. I did remove an electronic TRE eliminator, one of those cheap little gizmos. Yesterday's test ride, didn't notice any difference. The bike behaved itself in that regard. It does need a tune because the airbox has been modified by someone, and the more free-flowing exhaust and the Yoshi mufflers out the back there. It would need tuning. Haven't had the chance to get into that yet, but we need something to tune it with, you know, a power commander 3 or something like that, if I could get something. I got an old one, maybe I can adapt it, but I haven't had time to try and sort that out yet. But the engine's running fine. I've had the clutch out, just my last previous video, the clutch plates, inspected those, measured. I put some new springs in it because it's got 73,000 odd Ks. I don't know the history of the bike that much on what was done with the clutch or anything, but it all looked really good. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all, except leaks. But it's to be expected. It's a 2002. Things are getting old. Just before I picked up the bike, the dreaded fuel pump O-rings leaked, but Kyle changed it and it's been perfect since. It's all good. The sleigh cylinder pushrod seal through the case, it leaked pretty well straight away as well, after I started putting it through its paces type of thing, so I changed that. It had already been changed before and it failed again, so that's at least 2 times on that. And it's also gone and contaminated the slave cylinder clutch reservoir fluid, blah blah blah. It's now turned black, so that has to be, the hydraulic fluid has to be bled through and cleaned up. That's the telltale sign now up there. And it also, there's an O-ring on the left hand side there that on the end of the crank. I changed the O-ring and it's still weeping. It seems to be a little, it's a brand new seal and it's a brand new O-ring, and yet it still slightly weeps. So that's a little bit odd. But other than that, for oil leaks, it's really been that slave cylinder area. Now the next item would be the quick shifter. I really like quick shifters for country rides, the drag strip, the track days. I think quick shifters are one of the best things going. So not much of a choice for the TLR. So I made my choice, paid my money. Oh, that's, by the way, everything is my money. Everything I spend is all my money. No one gives me anything. So I just tell you the brands that I choose because I think I've made the right choice. And in the quick shifter, I wish I hadn't have bought this one. It's been nothing but trouble. Yesterday's test ride, it played up just going out of the street and up to the service station. I just dived into the first service station that I could, and then did some changes to it, and then it settled down and it wasn't carrying on. What it does, it just, you're riding along without touching the gear lever, without changing the throttle, not doing anything. You're just riding along steady, and the engine's just cutting out. And you know, it's really dangerous because it's like the traffic doesn't know what you're doing. You haven't got the brake on, but it's just someone just flicking your kill switch off. That's what it's like. Bloody scary. Anyway, I did some changes to the quick shifter settings, which is an app on the phone, while the engine is running, and then it was okay for the rest of the ride, but it still played up. It didn't shift properly. It was shifting through the lower gears, but when you got up into the higher gears, it would miss the shift and get a false neutral. Which is bloody dangerous as well, because you've got some more road speed going when you're going from, you know, 4th to 5th and 5th to 6th. You've got a bit of speed going. And the last thing you want is a bloody missed shift. So I'm not happy with it at all. I might have to do some inquiries about that. I also run the reverse shift on the gear lever. I prefer that on the tracks. And it is more fail-safe for missing a shift because you're just moving your foot down. You're not trying to lift up for the upshift. For an upshift, you push down, so just bang, 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 without doing damage, of course, but it's a much more positive move with your foot. So I like the reverse gear shift. And I've got a new gear shift. It's just arrived on Friday because this one is worn out, and I've had to replace them before. The bushes wear out on the stock gear shift lever, so they're just under $200 for a new lever, but they're still available, so I grabbed that. But the quick shifter, I'll just keep persevering with this, and if one day I might change it again, buy another brand. The tailpiece. I've got to do some more investigating. There's another chappie over in New South Wales on the YouTube channel that I watch, and he modified it. And the previous owner, Kyle, he did a bit of modifying to the tail, and hasn't been finished. So what I've had to do, I had to bring the tail light out because it was too tucked up, too far underneath, and I thought it was dangerous. Traffic can't see it basically. So I cut it up, got the tail light assembly out so you can see it, and tidied it up a little bit because it was loose, it was not supported, because these aftermarket under trays, you know, they're kind of not 100% finished off. And we have strict, for my American viewers, because in my stats I can see where my viewers around the world are, and just got to explain to the American guys, it is very strict here. The police just love pulling you over on your bike. They know you're an easy target because we're always doing something wrong. We've either modified our exhaust, or we're going too fast, or we're going through the traffic. You know, they can just, easy money. And so when you change your undertail and the tail tidies and things like that, you still got to have the number plate lit up and visible, because we have radars over here as well, camera radar systems, and they're rear facing. So what they do, the camera is aimed at your number plate at the back, and if they can't read it, they get really upset because they're not getting their money, you see. So it's a $1,000 fine if your number plate is obscured or on an angle where they can't get the photograph. Actually, I think it's a fraction over $1,000 now, because they class it as you're trying to cheat the system. Two other things. The engine overheated boiled the water in the radiator, and I tracked that down to just non-genuine, some old radiator cap that wasn't holding the pressure. So that was a fairly quick fix once I sorted that out. But the only other problem with the water cooling system is there's no radiator hoses available anymore from Suzuki. I'll have to go aftermarket to renew the hoses, which I'd like to do. Some don't look in very good condition. And then the second thing that I forgot was the battery. Well, first of all, it would charge up and it would hold the charge, but then the engine would crank over, and when you released it wouldn't fire. The engine would crank over but not fire, and as you lifted your thumb off the starter button, the engine would kick into life. And what we figured out was the starter motor was taking all the power from the battery, but there was nothing left to go to the coils to actually fire. So as I lifted my thumb off the starter button, all of a sudden there was some battery power to go to the coils and it would actually kick. So I took the battery to a battery place and they did a load test on it, and there's too much resistance in the battery. So even though the battery at first appearances looked alright and it would charge up on the battery charger, it was actually no good. There was no cranking power in the battery, or not enough. So just bought a new battery, stuck it in, and whammo, it was good to go. So the big V twin needs a decent battery in good condition. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching. I know it's been a bit of a long one, but it's been 12 months of full-on rebuild. Well, actually, it's good. Sometimes you think maybe actually you should do a complete overhaul and start and pull everything apart and start from scratch. Anyway, we got there now. It's pretty darn good. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.